Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Your support really does make a huge difference. You'll find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org/contribute. Thank you so much.
So, I'd like to just say welcome, and also I want to ask if anybody has anything that came up during the day that you want to share or not.
I can.
Okay.
Okay. In Judaism, there's a really big division between seeing and hearing. And we can hear God, but we can't see him. And also, if you make a man blind, you have to just pay for his eyesight. But if you make him deaf, you have to pay for his life. So I started, and a friend of mine is going blind. So this really just hit me today, and I started thinking about hearing versus seeing, and like seeing is labeling, but it's all a cerebral thing, as opposed to hearing. And visually, as an artist, I've been more involved actually in hearing and the thing beneath the thing, not what you see, which is all like a delusion to me. So it's been like pretty powerful today, thinking about, and then I started at dinner, we were talking about, well, what senses are the most important, which are the least, things like that, the hierarchy of senses, which is really interesting. Are they all equal? So anyway.
Lots of food for thought.
My whole day was this.
Well, I'm glad we're stimulating.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what you come up with.
Okay, I'm gonna get the answer.
Okay. Great. Well, I was wondering if anyone had the opportunity to shift today. Did they remember to say, "Oh, let's shift"? And if so, what was your experience?
So I'm gonna spotlight myself here. Okay. I did, and this is the first integrative intensive that I've been to, so I really appreciated the fact that we're meeting in the morning, and then we have something to think about and explore during the day, and then we're coming back to it. So I think there's a real benefit to it. And so yes, I did several times throughout the day. I just did the expansion, awareness, looking straight ahead and expanding. And it was just very valuable throughout the day. I did it several times. So it was, I can't exactly say, more specifically why, but it was just very, very grounding and just expanding my awareness in general. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. You want to say something, John?
Sure. I work in visual analytics is a large part of what I do. So I make numbers and a large amount of data. I make it presentable for all sorts of different audiences. So for me, visual is so strongly tied to discursive thought. It's almost, I found that what I was doing, and I think if I had practice discussion, I would have brought this up, that I feel like what this expansion practice that we've been doing is really similar to a samadhi practice that I learned early in my meditation history, and that has always kind of been when I'm really struggling with, there's a lot of clouds passing by, so to speak, and a lot of them are very distracting. I will do something somewhat similar to these opening exercises, kind of like visual and audio, and that stops my work, which is really interesting.
Wow.
And it makes me wonder how much my work is reinforcing this extremely discursive mindset. You know, the doom scrolling on social media, that's all visual discursive intensity. And like, when am I turning off these days? So that did that for me. I noticed that.
Wow, that's a lot to notice. Thank you. And you would like to say something?
Well, I did the exercise of looking at my hand and then the space that my hand occupied as a glove, essentially, for what was not there when my hand moved there, and what was there when my hand moved away. And it put me on this attention, which I noticed was concentrative. And then I remembered that wasn't the word that you used at all. The word you used was awareness. And so that helped me feel in my body just somatically a different experience between awareness and attention.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because he mentions that in the book. It's very, very different. Yeah.
And then carrying on through a day similar to what was mentioned, doing this, I found addiction and how sticky pixels are and how pixels want pixels. And I kind of learned that Chick-fil-A wants Chick-fil-A, and so I kind of pulled out of that spiral, but pixels still want pixels. I found the gerbil busy at work in the eyes, so I appreciate that I'm not alone in that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, all three. And Monica?
I couldn't unmute. So a couple times today, I mean, more than a couple, but two ways I can describe. One was I'm sort of stuck inside for a while, and I'm was able to look out at the trees quite a bit and use the negative space of the leaves, and that was wonderful. But one that just happened about an hour ago, laying in the back bedroom, I have like sets of pictures on the wall, and it was so easy just to look at the space in between these pictures that are near each other, and it like instantly I went into that whatever more relaxed awareness just by sort of focusing, and then it just unfocused. So it was fun finding different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Nelda?
So this relates in a different way. Where I did the hand in front of my face exercise a couple of times today, and the first thing was, oh my gosh, hands are beautiful. So that was just such a lovely sort of, oh my gosh, look at the intricacy of the hand. But the more important thing is that when I moved my hand away, the image of my hand still remained, if you know what I'm saying. And it reminded me again how what we see, everything we see is appearance, that it's not the real deal. And so that was a lovely little reminder in the practice today about looking beyond the appearance of what's there, no matter how solid it may seem. So,
Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, so tonight we have and so I want to have one reminder before we start, and that is that our bodies reveal a ton of information and in a relatively short period of time. And the information that's obtained through direct experience of the body and not by thoughts created by mind, which I think you and John clearly talked about. So I would like to explain the exercise that we're going to do tonight. We're going to be working in pairs. And what we'll be doing is, it's going to be a simple experiment of looking at someone for about 30 seconds. And then look at each other, and then you talk about what you saw in that short period of time. And you talk about it for about six minutes. And we're going to be doing, you guys, it'll be easy peasy because you guys are going to be just dividing up between twosies. For you guys, it's going to be a little bit more complicated, but we'll worry about that in just a second. So then after you've looked at each other for the 20 seconds, you talked about it, then you're gonna do the same thing one more time, but you're gonna shift before you do it, as you do it. So you shift into this greater awareness, and then you just observe, say to the other person what you notice, whatever you notice. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about them, it could be just what you're, whatever, what are you here, okay. And then, so the idea is the question is there a difference between what you see in ordinary mind and what you see when shifted? So that's what we're inquiring into. So, and that's also 30 seconds.
I'm sorry, Laurie, could you repeat it?
Sure. What we're gonna do, and I'm gonna do a demo here, so I think that'll make it a little bit easier. But you're going to get together in your pairs, and you guys can go into a breakout room. Thank you. Into a breakout room and do it together. And so you just look at each other for 30 seconds, look and see what you see, and then you just talk about it. Take about 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, and then you stop, and then you shift and you look at each other while you're shifted. And then you do that for 30 seconds, and then you again talk about it and see, and the question what you're looking into is there a difference between looking at something when you're shifted and when you're an ordinary mind?
So shift into greater awareness, you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a piece.
Okay, and so, so I wanted to do a demo just so you get kind of the feel of it. So now I need your magic, Daniel.
Oh.
You don't have to volunteer, but I do need a volunteer actually for someone online, because that's what the difficulty is it's going to be a little bit harder for you guys, just because you're not in person. So I will need a volunteer from one of you. Jay, great.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, now we got it. I'm just gonna move over a little
You
closer.
can be a little closer to her.
No, you're good. I can see you. Now I can
Okay.
see you. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so to start, we're just gonna look at each other for about 30 seconds, just see what we see, and then we'll chat about that. See what you notice, that's what we're doing. See what you notice, and it could be about me, it could be about you, it could be about both, whatever. Okay, just what you notice. Go. Okay. So what we can do is we'll just go back and forth, kind of like a conversation. So I'll just start, just because, unless you want to.
No, I can start.
Okay.
It's initially when we started, I just kept seeing your lips moving, like it appeared uncertain of if it wanted to smile or just stay straight, and that captured me. It's like it kept going, you know. So, and then I just started looking at your eyes and seeing that focus, and then I think you just settled into it, and then the bell went off. So yeah.
Well, what I was noticing, I was looking at your smile. It's interesting, we both went to the mouth. But your wonderful welcoming smile and your eyes are so bright, and I was just feeling really warmed by it. So that we don't have, it doesn't take 6 minutes to talk about that, but that's what I really noticed in looking at you.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you noticed while we were sitting?
No, I just like my eyes were just focused on your face. I mean, I see everything else around, but it was just drawn to your face and again to the mouth. And of course, I was just thinking that it's finding itself, like because it just does the phantom movements of should I smile? Should I not smile? Am I gonna, and then I just like, again, I just moved to your eyes and I thought, honestly, that I don't know if you have gray or bluish eyes, but it just like, it made me think of periwinkle, the color, and, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same way. I wasn't focused on anything else. I was just focused on you. 30 seconds goes by fairly quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. When I originally set up this thing, I was going to have everybody look 2 or 3 minutes, and somebody said, 2 or 3 minutes? Are you kidding? Yeah, I guess maybe that's a little long.
No, but you know what? I think that honestly, like even if you kick it up to a minute, it allows you to sit, because I feel like a lot of times looking at somebody is discomforting, right? We don't usually look at people. We look around them and everywhere, but we don't really look at each other, And so initially it's that discomfort that you have to sit through and then just embrace the moment and the experience. And I think that 30 seconds is that, that was the so it's that discomfort that you sit through, and it and then you step into that magic space, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was afraid of smiling. I think it was just, what was that? Just kind of a trembling,
Yeah. I don't think it's fear. I'm just saying that initial space of what do I do, but you're
yeah.
it's, you know what I mean? Like, even if you think that you're focusing on me, I can see that you were also transitioning through something, So I'm just saying that initial few seconds is just settling into the moment, and then the magic happens. So for me, that minute, I think a minute is more appropriate in order to really step into the moment,
Yeah. That's really good feedback for doing this another time, allowing a whole minute. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to do it again, but we're going to shift.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, we flipped. Now you're on the other side.
Oh, it's a shift, right?
Okay, so now we're just gonna settle in, and then you just give us the word and we'll do it.
10 seconds to shift, 1 minute to watch.
Oh, yeah, you wanna try it in a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Begin.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, wow. That was actually intense, right? Like, I don't know about you, but it was intense.
It was really intense.
Yeah.
I tell you, my experience of shifting is what happens is our fields join. And so the intensity is kind of increased a little bit by both of us joining. So usually if it's intense for one, it's intense for the other because we're sharing the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I guess with the intense, there was a quietness, to it, like a peaceful feeling for me. And in that, I actually started looking at your breathing, and I realized that we were on this, because I could see your chest moving, and I realized we were on the same cadence. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, it just felt really peaceful and like really connected. Yeah. That was so good.
Yeah, and my experience is and this is typical for me a lot of times when I shift is sometimes people, well, you got real blurry, so I couldn't see you.
Mhm.
I mean, I could see your face, but it was blurred.
Mhm.
And so that usually means it's intense. I mean, that's kind of a signal for me that we've gone kind of deep. But felt so sweet, to me, and also very peaceful. But there's just
Yeah.
like a real sweetness about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
So, well, so I guess what I would like to do, we kind of changed the schedule a little bit. Going over time a little bit, but I think it's worth it because I think this is what we need to be doing. So before we go into Zazen, I'd like to just ask people how was that? What was that experience like? So, yeah.
First awareness was in silent group meditation. There's emptiness and there's self and there's other characters that you never connect with as human beings. And this broke that very quickly and made a human connection that was great improvement over my other silent retreats.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, that's important. Anybody else? Kim?
Yeah. So you guys don't know this, but I used to have a reputation of being called Jelly Mosley because I changed my mind.
Don't be there.
And so I completely go back on what I said a few minutes ago. And because I had such a real experience, especially in the second iteration of looking at Daniel and seeing not just not just a slice of life or an instant, but something that went back in time and went out in space and things like that. So I just, it kind of blew my whole theory.
Okay. All righty then.
Yeah. Now I'm back to square one.
Okay, Jelly.
Okay. So you can call me Jelly.
Thank you for that, Kim. Anyone else like to share anything? Rosemary.
So I don't have to spotlight myself. So actually we had a little experiment because one person wasn't assigned. So we had three in a room. Which was interesting. So we did 2 and 2, and then for the shift, Monica suggested we since it's expansion of awareness, that we do 3 together on the shift.
Oh, wow.
Kind of interesting, and varied responses to how that went. For me, I sort of went from one to the other, including myself. And it became very circular, and it felt really powerful, like a group. And then it kind of expanded beyond our 3 to like a spiral out. So that's a little experiment that happened.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm glad you did that.
Monica.
And then I just wanted to add, when we did the threesome with the expansion, yeah, I just sort of had a soft gaze, and I was aware of the shape of their heads, but it just felt very comforting, and it was very evident that all 3 of us were there together. So I really think we did feel the energies add up, which was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is really interesting when you can, you get that sense that you're sharing the field of awareness. It's like, yeah, you're together in that. Anything else from anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to what y'all were just talking about with Kim. Both times felt very intimate and sacred, and I think the first time, though, I felt a little bit more in my head, and then the second time I was able to drop down into my body a little bit, and it felt like instead of me viewing Kim, it was sort of like I don't know, the room was sort of holding us.
Yeah.
And then also there's a Suzuki Roshi picture in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I backed out, like up my side a little bit, Kim turned into Suzuki Roshi.
Oh, that's great.
So that was funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's wonderful. Nelda.
So I thought I knew how to shift, but I'm hearing everyone's description, and apparently I don't.
Oh, I don't know about that, Nelda. I mean, I don't know.
Because and Joel's, I was partnered with Joel, and thank you, Joel. What a blessing. And Joel's experience of shifting and describing it just is similar to some of the elements people have shared. But when I shifted, so the first time with Joel, because I didn't want to make up any stories, we just got these impressions, visual impressions, movements and so on. But when we were supposed to have shifted, and I thought I had, I just started crying with gratitude.
I think you shifted, Nelda.
Okay, well, good. Yay, I passed.
Well, it's not really a pass-fail thing, but
I know. No.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Not to worry.
Okay.
You're right on track. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, when I was paired with Trouty, and it's funny because when we did the expansion portion, my eyes kept wanting to unfocus, and at first I was like, no, focus, and then I was like, okay, let's go with it. And I was explaining to her, those pictures where you have to unfocus your eye to see the picture.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what happened. And then Trouty and I merged. It was like everything came into one, and it felt like 3D, like I could touch her. It was really, really trippy, and it was awesome and beautiful. I was so grateful to be paired with Trouty.
Oh, yes, Trouty. So I'm so excited for you guys. This is, You guys have probably been doing this for a long time. I'm sure you have. Anyway, well, no, yeah, but anyway, I'm excited that you're touching into the field and feeling that and feeling that, yeah, so cool. All right, so we can sit for a few minutes until 8:50, and then we'll do the refuges. Thank you all so much for your participation tonight. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. You've come back. It's wonderful. So the first thing I would like to do is just kind of check in to see if anything's been arising or anything, any questions from last night or anything before we get started on anything new. Any questions, comments, or anything? Joel.
Thank you. Good morning, and to everyone, and good morning,
I
Laurie.
can't hear you, Joel.
Oh, okay, hang on. Any better?
I can hear you, so it might be Zendo.
Ah, muted in the Zendo or something.
Okay, now we hear you.
Great, thank you. Laurie,
Yes.
I'm sorry to say, I would like to ask you to go back over some of the basics about shifting, about shifting into awareness, shifting into freedom from Locke Kelly. And I would like more guidance on that. And it's something I was talking about with Nelda last night. Would that be possible?
Yeah, what we'll do is the shifting into freedom, we won't worry about that till the end, because that's when we'll be doing that specifically. There's a particular meditation that goes with that, so I would say don't worry about that yet. And just the basic shift, we can practice that, because we're going to be doing a meditation this morning with sound. And so we'll just do the basic and see if that's adequate for you. And the idea is we just use this basic shifting into awareness. And then we place that awareness into the senses. That's what we're doing, for the first several days. And then we expand it. Then we're going to go into our gut. And then we're going to go into freedom. So that's going to be more extensive. So we're just kind of going bit by bit. So, but in any case, the going into the basic shifting, we'll do that right now. Yes, because that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, does that sound good? Okay, so anybody else have any comments? Need anything? Okay, if you're raising your hand, I don't see it. Okay, all right. Good.
Jay, we have Jay online, Laurie.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, you know what? In doing this practice, I've realized how superficial my interaction with the world has been. It's really amazing because, they have this saying, oh, I know it like the back of my hands. I don't know what the back of my hands really look like. Seriously, and so I actually, took time like last night and even this morning, just looking at my hands, and then it made me look at the rest of my body, and how like the brain or the mind really dismisses things thinking, well, I know what that is, right? That's a hand. I don't need to know what it, or that's my face. I don't need to focus on that. And yet, even when we deal with people, like, oh, I know who they are. I know what they're gonna say. I know, and so it's really interesting because I feel like if I do that expanded living, right, that expanded interaction, that takes time, and I've been so trained to like just make this quick, let's make it efficient, go, 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 and not really experience that deeper connection or interaction. So really, I just wanted to express my gratitude because it really has expanded my mind and has given me pause to really like look at stuff, even my body and myself, really like take it in, you know, and not just be dismissive. Oh, that's your face. You know, I a while back I used to, you know, I was telling Trouty the first time I really looked into my eyes was really uncomfortable and trippy because you know, I never used to do that. I would look at my face as a whole, you know, to put the lotion on and whatever, but I never really took myself in. And so I did that again last night, and it was really emotional and profound. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for this practice, this intensive that has been opening me up. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate that. And, you know, I think what you say is true. I think in this culture in general, we're also productive and busy and, you know, doing things all the time. And I think one of the biggest, if you want to call it a commodity, the biggest, maybe one of the most important things I am discovering that I need in my life is space. I need space to be able to just appreciate and to really look at things and really listen to things and really, you know, all of that. And I think we do, we miss our whole lives. And we miss, you know, the relationships, a lot of our relationships, because we, you know, because we keep ourselves so busy and we're not really paying attention. And then the other thing I wanted to say too is I like the way you talked about looking at yourself, really looking at yourself and realizing, you know, oh, there's the fact and this, you know, and there's much more to it than that. And I think that that's true everywhere. And my way of thinking of that is that the inconceivable is in a speck of dust, you know? The inconceivable is in this hand. You know, you really look at it and pay attention to it. The inconceivable is that we have all these people together at this moment, at this time, and we're doing this, you know? So that's what I've come to. So I think that you're kind of on that same track. Yeah. And so how do we embody that? That's the question. How do we understand that? And I think it's through this awareness, you know, this being able to, well, we'll shift to the second, shifting into awareness and really, really paying attention, being aware, better stated. So anyway, thank you. Anybody else?
I think Monica, did you want to say something? There's Monica, then Rosemary.
I just had a quick question. To be all together in the Sangha, I was wondering if we could know who the new Sangha member is that came in today.
Oh,
Their names. I mean, just to be inclusive. I'm sorry. That's just.
no, of course. I've been bad. I haven't even gone through names here.
It's me, Monica.
It's Ellen.
It's Ellen.
Oh my God. I was like, thank you. I mean, thank you.
These masks are very
Hi,
deceiving.
everybody.
Hi, Ellen.
Some of you don't know, Ellen is well, you know her because she's on here all the time. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah. So does everybody know everybody else? We should have done names earlier. I failed to do that. You don't. Okay. Why don't we just go around in here and then you guys can say who you are and where you are. That would be good. We know where we are, kind of. So I'm Laurie.
I'm John.
I'm Ellen. I'm from Virginia, but here today.
I'm Ed in Austin.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Jim.
What? Oh, you said Kim. Sounded like Jim. Okay, you guys on the line.
I'm Maria, and you can unmute yourselves to introduce yourselves.
Where are you from, Maria?
Oh, I'm from Barrow-in-Furness, Cumbria in the UK, and it's really hot. Unusual.
Monica in Austin.
Becky in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Jay in New Jersey.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Jersey. Okay.
Rosemary in New Jersey.
Joel in Albuquerque.
I'm
No.
Carolyn.
Oh, Carol.
I'm Carolyn. I'm just across the highway from Apamata in East Austin.
And I'm Nelda in Austin.
Lynn in Wimberley.
All right, now we've done it proper. Wonderful that we're able to have people so far away and get to know people that we wouldn't ordinarily get to know. So it's really wonderful. Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question. Oh, and Rosemary, were you going to say something?
Yeah, just something quick. So this morning I woke up early and to a really interesting bird song, and didn't quite get up to take the walk at that time, but I did want to expand my awareness, and I love birds. So I did get up and just took a little 10-minute walk out there just down the block, and have this app that identifies birds by the song. So it said there was a parakeet, and I thought, really? So, and also Nelda, I was thinking of you and the trees. So there was a little apple tree. Maybe I saw the apple tree first and then saw that there was a parakeet around. So sure enough, there was a parakeet in the apple tree having an apple for breakfast. I mean, it was like chopping on this little apple. So anyway, I spent the morning outside of my apartment on, down the block with this parakeet in the tree, and the parakeet and his breakfast. So it was just a lovely experience, not so far out, but beyond my apartment and my terrace. So I'm grateful for the reminder to expand. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sounds fun. All right, so I guess we'll move forward. And so Joel, this will be the general plus the specific. So I'll go over the shifting part so people maybe feel clearer about that. So as I mentioned from the beginning, what we're doing, what we're up to here is we recognize that the mind, just because of its nature, tends to divide reality, divide everything up that we see, hear, smell, taste, whatever. Just because the mind tends to see from one point, which is from here, from ourselves, automatically that sets up a division, a separation. So me and then the world is a separate thing. Yes, we can communicate, we can touch and all of that, but it's still kind of a separate entity because you're coming from the mind. So, and also from that place, you have separation, and at the same time you have separation, you have, the mind is great at making distinctions. Oh, well, he's wearing gray pants and he's wearing blue pants. We're all the time making distinctions. Oh, this is this way and this is that way. Also, we're making judgments. The mind is really good about saying, oh, this feels like it's good for me. Oh, this doesn't feel like it's good for me. This tastes sweet, this tastes sour. So this is what the mind is up to. And as I said before, that's really important. As a human being, we need that for our functioning. in daily life. We can't drive down the road. We can't do anything complicated without that analysis and, separation. But there's more. We have more, another capacity that we can make use of, and that is making use of the body, the information that the body carries, because it functions differently, but it has another knowledge based on what comes into our senses and what you can just check in with the body and get a lot of information about what's happening beyond what's part of the mind in and of itself, beyond the part of the separation. So the point of this whole week is to experiment with this awareness, with our own awareness, the capacity for awareness, that everyone has. I mean, it's a birthright of all. And to play with the senses and play with the embodiment of this, taking this direct experience and figuring out what we know. What do we know from that perspective? Okay, you with me there? Okay, so that's what we're doing. So instead of thinking about things so much, we're going to our awareness normally kind of sits up here on our brain because we're constantly using the brain. The mind is using awareness, and then it makes its judgment. It says, oh, I'm aware of the candle burning. Okay, well that means then I have all sorts of thoughts and opinions and blah 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 about it. So what we're trying to do is get all those thoughts and opinions, let those be what, leave those aside, and we're going to get another sense about it. And we can look at a flame and we can watch it as it moves, watch the colors in it, and realize it's a very intricate thing actually, by expanding our awareness. So the shift itself, the actual shifting, is we're unhooking the awareness from our mind, and we're just, if you think of it in terms of unhooking the awareness and just dropping it down here so it won't slip back up into the mind. So that's the first thing. So we unhook the awareness and kind of locate it down here. And once it's down here, we're just going to, I think of it in terms of expansion. We're just going to increase our awareness. Now, it's not a matter of looking at something straight ahead of us. We have a soft gaze. And we're starting, I use my hands because it's meaningful for me. I get a sense of an expansion when I do that. So that's why it's part of what I do for going into shifting. So you drop, and then you just start paying attention, or increasing your awareness is the way I look at it, or taking more in through awareness. And it's not just peripheral vision that's happening. It's a shift into your actual awareness in and of itself. So you're coming from awareness instead of the mind. You're coming from awareness itself, and then you can locate awareness in senses. In your sense of, today we're going to work on sound. So if we're shifted now, we're going to start paying attention to, or noticing, being aware of, better stated, we're going to focus on sound. So what I would suggest is just notice the sounds you are aware of as we sit here right now. And you could start close in. So the sound of my voice would probably be one. And you would pay attention to the rise and fall of the sound. You might want to pay attention to the movement of sound. And it doesn't really stay in one place, it moves and falls off. You might want to move out and put your awareness on sound that's in your particular environment. It's fairly quiet right now. But for example, here in the Zendo, I hear those machines, I guess they're air filters, filtering machines. It's slight, but it's there. So find something, you guys probably can't hear it online, but find something in your environment that you're aware of as far as the sound goes. And you can go outside of your environment. Head outside and see, what do you hear outside? Birds. Quacking of birds. And as the sound arises, we just receive. It's not like your hands where you reach out for it so much as you receive it. And then you might hear another sound. I hear a faint sound of bells. It's arising in the field of awareness. Rising and falling. Hear the sound of the chimes that have started. Again, rising, falling off. Rising. And then you might notice the space around the sound. As the sounds arise and fall away. And you can put your awareness into that space. Be aware from that space. And realize that that space is aware. So my question is, I'd like, you guys want to get involved and be interactive. What do you notice right now? Whatever. What do you notice? Is there someone in the room that could say what they notice right now? You can just speak out.
Slowing.
And anyone online, what do you notice right now?
The tiny little spaces between the air purifier's seemingly consistent hum, but it's not consistent. There are tiny little spaces around what seems like one solid sound. This is wow.
Excellent. Yeah. Anyone else?
I'm just getting images of trees, you know, the gaps that they leave each other when you look up, and it's kind of like that's the sense I'm getting with sound, that each sound allows each sound to be. And it's kind of like a feeling of layers. They're all on layers. I can just hear layers of different sounds. And just by really kind of listening, it's that just an expansion of non-separate. I don't feel separate. I can feel my own vibrations and noises that my own body makes, because the body makes very subtle internal sounds and vibrations. And it's kind of like and then I can hear around me. But when I do that expansion, it's like we're all one. We're not separate. There's a feeling of non-separateness that's just in spaciousness that's there for me.
And that's called spacious awareness. Very good. Okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's come back. Come back from all that expansion. Okay. Shin Shin Ming. The great way isn't difficult for those who are unattached to their preferences. Let go of longing and aversion, and everything will be perfectly clear. When you cling to a hair's breadth of distinction, heaven and earth are set apart. If you want to realize the truth, don't be for or against. The struggle between good and evil is the primal disease of the mind. Not grasping the deeper meaning, you just trouble your mind's serenity. As vast as infinite space, it is perfect and lacks nothing. But because you select and reject, you can't perceive its true nature. Don't get tangled in the world. Don't lose yourself in emptiness. Be at peace in the oneness of things, and all errors will disappear by themselves. If you don't live the Tao, you fall into assertion or denial. Asserting that the world is real, you are blind to its deeper reality. Denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. The more you think about these matters, the farther you are from the truth. Step aside from all thinking, and there is nowhere you can't go. Returning to the root, you find the meaning. Chasing appearances, you lose their source. At the moment of profound insight, you transcend both appearance and emptiness. Don't keep searching for the truth. Just let go of your opinions. For the mind in harmony with the Tao, all selfishness disappears, with not even a trace of self-doubt. You can trust the universe completely. All at once you are free with nothing left to hold on to. All is empty, radiant, perfect in its own being. In all the world of things as they are, there is no self, no non-self. If you want to describe its essence, the best you can say is not two. In this not two, nothing is separate, and nothing in the world is excluded. The enlightened of all times and places have entered into this truth. In it there is no gain or loss. One instant is 10,000 years. There is no here, no there. Infinity is right before your eyes. The tiny is as large as the vast, when objective boundaries have vanished. The vast is as small as the tiny, when you don't have external limits. Being is an aspect of non-being. Non-being is no different from being. Until you understand this truth, you won't see anything clearly. One is all are one. When you realize this, what reason for holiness or wisdom? The mind of absolute trust is beyond all thought, all striving, is perfectly at peace. For in it there is no yesterday, no today, no tomorrow.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.